Hey, everybody, and welcome to the GrowLeader Podcast, where we grow leaders that grow churches by helping them reach their full potential. So glad to have you with us today. My name is Matt. If you're new on this journey, be sure to go by and check out GrowLeader.com to see all the things we're a part of and how we can help you as a church. Sitting across the table, it's a bigger table today, Pastor Chris.
It is.
From our founding pastor at Church of the Highlands, Pastor Chris Hodges, PC.
How are you?
This is going to be wild.
This is going to be a wild one. This is probably going to give people the best snapshot of what it looks like in green rooms or living rooms or restaurants of some of my favorite ministry friends. And, you know, we were talking about how that people that listen to podcasts, one of their greatest desires is kind of be the fly on the wall of conversations that they weren't in, but they wish they were in. And I'm hoping that's what this turns into a little bit today. So we're going to have some fun. It's going to be a lot of content as well because we have two amazing church builders. Yep. But more than that, they're some of my favorite people and best friends. And so I'm excited about the podcast today. So here we go.
We built up so much suspense. If you're listening by audio, which so many of you do, but if you're watching video, you know already, sitting at the table today from Los Angeles, California, Pastor Chad Veach from Zoe LA is here with us. And also, this is together, both of these guys, Pastor Rich Wilkerson Jr. from VOUS Church in Miami, Florida, coast to coast.
Who happen to be very close friends. And I wish we had the podcast recording before we even got started today because we were already just having a great time.
It was a little unhinged. But guys, thanks for having us. And welcome back to all of our listeners.
And we did tell them that this may never make it on air, so we'll see. So if you're hearing it, either we did some amazing editing or they behaved themselves. But no, seriously, some of the greatest church builders, I don't say that as hyperbole. I mean, you guys really are. I admire you. I'm proud of you. I maybe add just a little bit to your lives here and there, but you guys, man, I couldn't be prouder of the work that you guys are doing. Just in case somebody just happens to, I can't imagine this, not knowing who in the world you guys are, because I think you guys are some of the leading voices in the church today. Give them a little snapshot of who you are when you started the church, because I told you before we got on that the people who listen to this podcast listen to learn something, take something away. So we're going to give them some nuggets, but you guys are great church builders. Chad, start us off. Tell them who you are. Give them the 1-2 minute resume intro. Tell them who you are.
Well, I'm a podcast host, I'm a preacher, pastor, author, like that guy that talks about himself like that. So my wife and I, we've been married for 17 years. I was talking about that last night, or almost 17 years. We pastor a church. We're both turning 10 this year.
Wow.
The churches are.
Yeah, the churches are turning 10. Yeah, right. We're both, but also in maturity, we can be 10. We are turning 10 years old as a church, and we planted it in a club. We started in a club. Rich was there that night, and we had an amazing launch, had an incredible experience in Los Angeles. And we've got 4 kids now, had an amazing time in Los Angeles so far, and I'm really excited about the future. So just having a great time in LA. We've had an incredible start. COVID kind of shut us down for a little bit.
Especially
in California. And kind of that, trying to get it back up and going. And so it feels like it's really good special days now. So
how many locations?
I have 2 locations right now, and we're getting ready to launch a 3rd in February. So
let's go, man.
Good days.
I'm so proud of you guys. Yeah.
Chad's one of my dearest friends in the world. We've been friends, 15 plus years. Yeah. But my name is Rich Wilkerson Jr., and I pastor a church in Miami called VOUS Church. And you make me laugh because you act like you haven't played a big part in our churches. But I met you 15, 16 years ago, and that was a life-changing moment for me in my life. The value that you've added, the mentorship, the leadership, the influence, not just with your personal time, but also, what you've built here in Birmingham, Alabama as just a hallmark church throughout the world. Yeah. You've so allowed us in and platformed us and give us an opportunity. But you and I met, I think, before we launched, and every playbook that you have, I've just stolen it and just tried to implement it. But we started 10 years ago. I'm married to Dawn Cherie. We have 4 kids, all miracle babies. We're in 4 locations in Miami. And we're getting ready to launch a 5th location, which people don't even know about yet in Miami, but that's going to happen in 2026 that we're really excited about. We're in a building project, our first real kind of building project. We own 3 different facilities. We're still in a high school, and we're launching into another high school in 2026. So
that's great.
We're always listening to this and listening to you because I want to grow. And I think that leaders that want to make a difference want to continue to become who God's called them to become. And so I think spaces like this are so important. And so thank you for letting us be on today. And hopefully we do add a little bit of value.
You will, because you guys, you are what I would call apostolic voices. And I know that word gets translated or used a lot of different ways. I use it as you have works that are large, but your influence is larger than your work. And I think that's an apostolic anointing. I think it's when it reaches beyond your own actual physical work, because you guys, I mean, I think you truly are some of the most important voices in the body of Christ today. You're actually in town because we're in the middle of our student conference, which, you've been all 17 years to that student, and you've been to most of them. And both of these guys are speaking just because I trust them. I trust you guys. I mean, I really do. I consider you some of my closest friends. Very, very proud of the work you guys are doing in some cities that are not the easiest places to plow ground, too. I mean, when you're in these major metropolitan cities like Miami and Los Angeles, I mean, it is a little bit different than Birmingham, Alabama. But
even as you say that, I think that one time, what I'll kind of hear sometimes as the criticism is like, oh, that'll work in Birmingham, but those principles and those systems won't work in a place like Miami.
Because we hear that a lot.
Let me just say, 10 years in, we run every play. And I like what James Clear says. He says, we don't rise to the level of our goal, but we fall to the level of our system.
Yeah.
And the way that I've heard you define systems, because sometimes we can get so into semantics and words can lose their meaning. A system is just something that's delivering you the vision. How do you know you have the right system? Is when you actually have the vision delivered. And for us, the systems that you've created, sure, there might be some tweaks here and there in a context. I think we should all be exegeting our cities and figuring out what's happening and how it
personal
works.
style too.
Totally.
I mean, absolutely. Yeah.
But when it comes to the foundational principles that you have led from Grow.
So what do you think they are?
For you?
So if you were to repeat what some of the things that you say following.
Well, do you want me to? I mean, I can teach the growth track right now, or in terms of what I would just say watching you.
What did you take away?
I would say clear stewardship has always been a really important idea for me. I really believe that God rarely multiplies that which we fail to maximize.
That's so good.
And so God puts something in our hand, and we have to maximize it. We can see that in the parable of the talents. I think I learned stewardship. I learned financial integrity.
Right.
I learned the idea that church is an ongoing community and conversation. So for us, I've got all your lines, man. Like sermons don't change people, like conversations do.
Yeah.
So a sermon's going to be a catalyst for change. That's like a mind-blowing revelation for me because I'm a person who grew up in a charismatic setting that everything is about the platform and the message. And I love preaching. I like to get after it and have fun. But as a pastor who's now 10 years into it, I have to keep a conversation alive. And I've got to get people connected and into groups. One time you told me, you said, Rich, people are in groups in your church. They just might not be in your groups.
Right.
And it spoke to me because just going, how can I be a part of the conversation that they're already having? So I would say stewardship. I would say financial integrity. I would say a culture of prayer. I mean, I've always been a person of prayer, but let's go back to that exact idea. You can say you value prayer, but if you don't have a system for prayer, there's never been a day in my life I felt like fasting.
Yeah.
But because it's in January and August, I fast, twice a year in an intense way. And so these are things that I could go on and on and on, but those are certain things.
What would you say?
And I would just add dream team.
Yeah.
How many times have you said the greatest thing I've ever done, the greatest thing you'll ever do is build a team? So I go right away into dream team, and then I think about growth track and helping people find their purpose. I mean, the mission is so clear, and we're going 4 cups right now. Every pastor needs to buy that book, study that book, and run that play. What do we exist for? Know God. We're here as a church. Salvation is where we start with people. We want people to really not know about God, as you say, but actually know God. You preached about it today, right? But depart from me, I never knew you.
Right.
So how do we get people to know God? And then find freedom. We got a lot of people in our churches that they know God, but they're not free. So I think your thoughts on freedom and a deliverance ministry, and where does freedom come? It comes in the context of connect groups, small groups. Discover your gift. That's growth track. What is my spiritual gifting? What is my personality type? Yeah. And then go make a difference. So I think, again, we came here, if our churches are turning 10, we came here 11 years ago and sat around in a small group and listened to you, ask questions. We would come back in year 1 and 2, but even through our relationship on the golf course, in green rooms, at restaurants, asking questions. How do we in churches in Miami and Los Angeles get these 4 things really rocking in our churches.
Yeah.
And that's kind of been the play we've run.
I think back in Miami right now, in fact, this is like of recently, over the last 6 months, I'm talking to, I guess what we call our operations team or our lead team, just because I think sometimes people can have a shallow perspective of it, and we can think the growth track is a thing after church on Sunday. But for you, what people, I think, at times what they might misinterpret, even though you've given your life towards it, is that they think that you're trying to get them to do a class.
Right.
And it's like, no.
Right.
These 4 steps are in the Old Testament and the New Testament over and over and over again. And the entire church is organized around this. Growth track is a double entendre because the whole church is a growth track.
Yeah.
And yes, we also have this thing after our services called the growth track.
Right.
So good.
And so people can almost get confused because they go, man, this guy's really obsessed with the growth track. You're not obsessed with a class and what you call it afterwards.
Right.
You're obsessed with people seeing this, what I would call a circular, continual, nonstop path that we are on.
Right.
That I don't know God and then I stop. It's like God doesn't
great.
visit me and then abandon me.
Yeah.
Right.
The same power that transformed me initially, listen to this, is the same power that will transform me progressively.
Yeah.
I come every Sunday to encounter God. I wake up every morning to meet God. His mercies are new every morning. And then guess what? As I mature in the Lord, I continue to find things that I got to get freedom in.
Right.
I thought,
Yep.
it's not the sin of commission anymore. Now I'm dealing with sins of omission. I
Yeah.
should have done that.
Yeah.
I should have spoke up. So I'm constantly being sanctified.
Right.
And then I'm also discovering I got gifts.
Right,
And
right.
am I maximizing this? And
Right.
why at 41 with more influence do I have brand new insecurities? I was never afraid of that at 23.
Right,
You even
right.
said, hey, you have to preach. You're like, I'm a little nervous.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That resonates with me because I sense that too. I'm like, why is it that I'm in new spaces and even what people might perceive as something stronger? Well, it's like, I got to get equipped. I need new tools for this new season. I need new strategies for new seasons. And then empowerment, which I really think is the make a difference thing. So I'm going off a little bit on it because I think it's important, because I think that's the big discovery is like, it's not just this thing after church.
Yeah, I try to be very, very clear to say that the vision, we didn't create the vision, God created the vision, and it's holy. He wants people to know God. He wants you to find freedom, discover purpose, make a difference. That is a continuum that never stops. How we do it is going to look different in different places, but we're still doing it.
That's right.
So even if you never call it the growth track or a dream team, the principles really never change. Let me ask you both another question though, because again, I think I consider you great church builders in your own right, and people. I think sometimes people see your personalities and say, man, they can preach and they're just fun. But, there's other people behind the scenes that really are the smart people that are actually putting together. And I think the audience would be, if they knew you like I know you, how smart, intentional. I tell people about you, Richie, how I'm probably going to get a text on Monday and it's going to have the best questions ever about, hey, this happened. What do I do about this? And it's like, you're an intentional, work hard, way beyond the stage, church builder. I mean, you're thinking about it, and you're again, you guys are just, you're very, very smart and intentional about it. What are you learning? Like if you were the one who just had this audience that wants to know how to build great churches, what are you telling them? Give them? You've talked about some of the things that I champion or try to talk about with churches, but what would you say if you get 10 minutes, 15 minutes with a discouraged pastor or someone whose church is just, man, they pray, they do everything, and it's just not working? What are you telling them?
I think it always starts out with a holy vision, a God vision, getting back to that picture, that glimpse that God has given you. When I close my eyes, what do I see? Like God gives us these pictures of the future so we can endure the pain of the present.
Give them an example. What do you see?
I think
Miami,
for
what do
me
you see?
right now in Miami, I see a church that's rising up, that is connecting with broken people that are far from God. I see a community that's forming and being shaped right now, that's empowering people. People are finding their calling, their purpose. They're starting families. We're in this really beautiful season. I could get real practical with it, that we've got 4 little kids. We've had all the kids since we started the church, but now this is happening all around. It really is a spiritual family that kids are being raised up. It's funny. I'm getting a vision now for a Christian school.
Really?
I can't believe I'm saying this.
Like a K through 12
I
school?
think so. I'm starting with an elementary. It's like I never dreamed I would have it. But when I start studying the Old Testament, it's like, guess who they were throwing in the Nile? Was all that first generation that we're trying to.
Wow.
I think that our greatest formation, it might not be through the masses. I'm grateful for social media and all these spaces, but maybe I'm going to give my life to a community of people and say, what could I give to a couple hundred kids if I really poured myself out? Who could they become? I know my life was changed through Christian education. Now I'm making an infomercial on that, but this is the power of vision. Because this is where people get lost. People are looking for a fire or they're looking for passion, but go throughout the Gospels and even to get a concordance and put up, like in the New Testament, how many times you see the word see from Jesus? Why can't you see?
Oh, yeah.
See, see now I'm doing this. It's
open your eyes.
I think he's constantly trying to get them to see something that they can't see because vision is what produces passion. And so whenever there's a lack of passion in my life, a lack of fire, a tenacity, I got to go back to vision. But I like what I think it's Jim Collins who says, you can have the right vision with the wrong people and that becomes irrelevant.
Right.
So I would say to every pastor leader out there, it's like it starts with a daunting vision, a God vision, but then you've got to begin to build a team. You've got to get some people that are going, I'm just happy to be on this bus. I want to be on this thing with you. And as you begin to get those right people, we can keep going into that. I think you have to start creating principles and values and systems. But for me, I think I'm living my life right now. What am I learning? How to articulate vision, how to put that in front of people, how to put the people in the right seats. I think 10 years in now, we've got the right people, but are they all in the right spot?
Yeah.
Are they in the right position?
Yeah.
What would you say?
I would say when you ask that question, the first thing that comes to mind, the first word is empowerment. That's what jumps out to me right away. What am I learning? I'm 45. Rich makes fun of me. He thinks I'm 49. I'm like, I'm not 49.
So much older than me.
Yeah, I'm
Tell
40.
him your full name. Just tell him your full name. He doesn't know this.
My full name is Chad Charles Veach.
You can't do that. Chad and Charles are the same name. Chad is short for Charles. It's
the
you
name and
can't-
the nickname.
Yeah,
All-
you
all-
can't
I think
do
it's
that.
strong.
I thought it
It's
was
the
Chuck.
CH.
I thought Charles
Yeah,
short was
Richard Wilkerson. Mom and Dad, how lazy
What's
are
your
you?
full name?
My goodness, mine Richard Preston Wilkerson Jr.
It's strong. It's strong, but it's not as strong as Chad Charles.
Chad
'Cause
Charles,
we double
man.
down on the.
I love it.
on the
Charles in
CH.
charge.
Go
but
ahead.
I think of empowerment. You know, the older that I get, the more I start to think about. When I was younger, I wanted to be on a platform, and maybe some of that selfish ambition was in me. And the older that I get, the more I would like to be a platform for others to step on.
I'm telling you, it's the best.
And when you were talking today, I'm going to give my life to pastors. I'm going to give my life to ministers. I so resonate with that. And maybe when I was young, I was so hungry to change the world. And now I'm hungry to develop world changers.
Yeah.
And so there's a big shift the older that I get to go like all that matters to me. And Pastor Brian used to say this all the time. Empowerment starts with me. So it's coming from the belief that there's a Zacchaeus in my church and you got to come down from that tree because I got to get a coffee with you. Because like you said today, I see something in you. One of the things, going back to your question of what do we learn from you? I'll never forget being at a Grow probably a decade ago, and you telling a story about there was a young leader in the audience that you brought to the back and you said, if you'll let me, I'll disciple you. And just kind of your mindset on recruiting. And I think that a lot of pastors, we wait for them to recruit us. We're waiting for some hungry leader to knock down our door. But I think that if you watch Jesus, he's the master recruiter.
That's
Very
right.
good.
He's the one going, drop your nets, leave your business, come down from the tree. And just that mindset of, if you look at the fivefold ministry and he will give some, there's a few that will be apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, and teachers. All of these offices are to do one thing. It's equip.
That's right.
And so what is my role? My role is to not just be a preacher or I was joking around, I'm a podcaster, I'm an author, my real focus right now is I'm a developer.
That's right.
I'm a trainer, and I got to get a coffee with you. I got to get you got to come over to my house. Let's go to this next preaching engagement. Why? One of my favorite scriptures in Mark, it says, and the disciples, they were with him.
Yeah.
That line right there always jumps out
Very
to me
good.
because he just put him in his back pocket.
He chose them to be with him.
chose them, and then just
Just
goes,
to be with 'em.
Come on, we're rolling. We're going to the LSU game. We're going to go to get barbecue. And so is ministry, the question is always, is ministry caught or is it taught? But if you look at the life and example of Jesus, it's both.
That's right.
He let them catch it. They were around. And then every once in a while, he'd look at them and go, hey, you know why I did that, right? And so to me, where I'm at right now at 45 is going, how can I leverage the farm in social media right now, like on TikTok, they'll do a lot of these viral videos that will go, they walked so that so-and-so could run. You know, like Kobe walked so that LeBron could run, or I'm using an example, but it's like we walked, or sorry, let's use you as an example. You walked so we could run. Like you're putting us on a platform today that's like, we should never get to step on this stage. But you've leveraged the farm for people like Mark Pettis and Rich and myself. And so that's where I'm at, is going like, how do I invest in the next generation?
I really am glad to hear that too, because people ask me, how did I transition the church to new leadership? And the answer I'm giving them is I started 21 years ago.
There you go.
And 21 years ago, I was 40 years old.
Very good.
And that's when Mark first came on staff, and I was developing him and discipling him and others, because I didn't at that point know it was him. But if you give your life to the development of other leaders, you're going to like what happens on the other end of this in 20 years.
How long ago do you think you knew that Mark was the guy?
5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Yeah, maybe longer. But I mean, I had the list was getting smaller and smaller. As I got closer to it, of those that I thought could take this one day.
Was Chad and I on that list?
I would have given it to either one of you guys years ago.
Okay, so here's my question. So
the answer is yes.
I love you.
You look at
who asked that?
John Siebling in Memphis, Joe Champion in Austin, the Bizettes in Arkansas and Florida, you guys here in Alabama. Every one of you has a youth conference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ferociously invested in the next generation. Where did you guys learn that? Like, did you take that from Baton Rouge, or did you guys have a conversation? Like, how did you start leveraging? Because Randy had 4,000 in an arena last week. Joe Champion had 3,000. John Siebling's got one of the best youth conferences in America. Yeah. So you guys have all made a massive commitment into the next generation. Where does that come from?
Wow, I wasn't expecting you guys to ask me questions. This is my podcast. But
Chad already asked one that he told me, he said, I got to ask him, how do I fix my slice?
Yeah, that's coming.
Okay, all right. Honestly, I think the principle is that the best decisions are being made, or the most important spiritual decisions are being made between about 15 and 25. And if you're not loud into the ear and into the life of someone during that time period, then you're missing the mark. There's 77% are making the decision to follow Jesus before age 25. Yep. And so if you don't get them, then you can still get them, obviously. I mean, people that are older than that are giving their lives to Jesus, but your best shot of having an impact into their life is during that time. But I think we all grew up with the belief that we weren't supposed to build ministries around our personalities.
Right.
And there wasn't supposed to be a ChrisHodges.com kind of, Inc. ministry. It was always supposed to be about pouring your life into the lives of others. And so, I mean, I think it's philosophically, we just believe that it's the verse where Jesus said about his own life that, because remember the disciples didn't really want him to die. They were just getting their momentum.
Right.
And he's getting some traction with, the people. And now he's starting to talk about, hey, I'm out of here. I'm getting ready to give my life. And they're like, no, man, you can't do that. We're all going to be on your cabinet. We're going to take over the Romans. They had a different plan. And then Jesus makes this amazing statement that, but if I stay, I'm a single seed. But if this seed falls to the ground and dies, it produces many.
Very good.
And I tell the students at Highlands College that all the time. I said, when I preach in front of a lot of people. But when I talk to you, I'm actually talking to more than the people that I speak to on Sunday.
Wow.
Because you guys compound the number of people you're going to impact and reach. And so literally the best way to have this reproducing life is not just Tammy and I could have kept having kids, but it's more fun actually to see our kids have kids, and it's happening at a rate that we could have never produced on our own. So what's best? Let me just pour our lives into the lives of our kids instead of, I don't always have to be the parent for the rest of my life.
Well, yeah, I've heard you say over the years too, look for ministry multipliers.
Right.
So people ask, why do you guys do a podcast? It's a ministry multiplier. Why do you guys do a podcast? It's a ministry multiplier. You're looking for the people and the platforms that are going to just exponentially grow the thing that you're seeding into it. I want to know though, I think because you with that whole group, kind of the Louisiana Mafia, right? That whole squad, how much of the relational equity, not positive peer pressure, but just influence with each other going, oh, you're doing this, it's working. Okay, I'm going to try that too. How much has that helped you throughout the years? I see you guys doing it. If that's working in Miami, hey, we may try this over here.
Yeah, sure.
And for the pastor that doesn't have that, that doesn't have somebody to call, that's a dangerous spot to be in.
I call it best practices. To be in a room where people are sharing, hey man, this is the best series I've done in 5 years, or hey man, we just discovered something that just revolutionized our women's conference, or just the little nuggets of, hey man, we tried this and it really worked. We did that so much, people would be shocked. I mean, we had moments, guys, where we would call our tribe and we would all decide to meet at a hub city like, Atlanta or Dallas. So everybody was one flight to it.
Wow.
Check into an airport hotel. We didn't even rent cars or anything. We just found the closest hotel.
Wow.
Sat there for 3 days. Well, I remember one time we said, let's all show up for breakfast the next morning. And we showed up like at 8 o'clock, had breakfast, and we didn't leave till 1 o'clock in the morning at the breakfast table.
Wow.
The people in the restaurant just kept cleaning the table and bringing more food about every 4 or 5 hours, and we talked and took notes and talked and took notes. And the ministry that I have today, I tell people that if I took you through Highlands, I could tell you very few things that were created from scratch. But man, I learned this from this person and this from this person. You see that? We didn't create that. That came from, I never forget going to that church and seeing that. Wow. And I don't know if we do that enough.
Sure.
And I don't know if it's pride because we feel like everything has to be original. But I mean, that's what's made our relationships great too, is that we collaborate. We listen to, we're not afraid to try something that somebody else is doing, and it doesn't have to be our own. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's profound that you guys did that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, we did it at least annually. We would all plan just to get together, not even knowing what the agenda was. Had no idea.
I don't think we've ever done that. I think all of our would be much more like, I guess, from some organic or some default of some other trip. But
a birthday.
But you got to realize too,
conference.
this was a generation where practices weren't shared.
Right.
Yep.
So I grew up in a generation, there were no conferences to tell you what we learned.
Right.
Man, if you found it, you kept it to yourself.
Right.
So I think there's a whole lot. It's a lot more of it's out there now. The best practice of churches. You have a great pastors conference. You have a great pastors conference. Both of you have very practical, great podcasts. So we're sharing our ideas. But that's exactly how it evolved. And I'm happy for this generation that has all this information and things that we can learn from others. And if I could encourage pastors to do any one thing, is like get out of your church.
Very good.
Go see what somebody else does. And I actually have a principle that I inherently believe, but that always gets proven true, and that is everybody can teach me something.
Yeah.
I don't care how big or small the church is.
I
will go into that place. And Matt knows this because we travel a lot together to a lot of different churches. Yep. Within 3 hours, I'll think, now that's cool. We don't have one of those. We never thought to do that. And I'll take a picture of it or learn it. And I always tell people, you might be better than us with that now, but you're only better than us for now, because
buckle up, buddy.
Because I'm getting ready to take it home and make it better, and you'll have to come learn it from me.
That is the conversation on the way home every time. Is we came down to February and did a GrowLeader regional in Miami at VOUS, and we left. I was blown away. I mean, just the staff culture. We left talking about all the things we've seen that day. We haven't been invited to Zoe LA yet for a GrowLeader regional, but I wonder if we can work that out.
You guys should do it
at some point.
That's a cool spot.
I'll have our office reach out.
My people.
My people, they'll reach out.
Yeah, but you're. I think all three of you, you're learners. I mean, you guys even. Yeah. I hear you guys talking to Pastor Mark and say, "Hey, why'd you do it that way?" There's just a constant learning culture all the time. Hey, everybody, thanks so much for being a part of the podcast today. Stay tuned because part 2 of this conversation is coming soon. In the meantime, go and check out an episode of the Leadership Lean In podcast with Pastor Chad Veach and an episode of the Mature Me podcast with Pastor Rich Wilkerson Jr. You're going to love it. It's going to help you grow, and that's what we're all about. We'll see you next time.